The origins of the Bulgarians in the year 678 AD are to be found in the lands of Turan between the Aral Sea and the chains of Altai. The Emperor Constantine IV, shortly after he tried in vain to prevent an invasion by the force of weapons and was consequently defended militarily, he granted the Bulgarians, with the Treaty of 679 AD, the final settlement of the occupied regions. Hence, Bulgaria was the first Slavic national state formed in the Balkan region, as opposed to the Eastern Empire. Bulgaria, after an initial period of adjustment of the new state, mainly characterized by constant struggles and ups and downs with the Byzantine Empire, began under the Han, translated as boss, also known as Chrome the Terrible, a fruitful period of conquest towards the south. So, it considerably extended its dominance of the territory throughout the Balkan Peninsula. Bulgaria became a republic through the institutional referendum sponsored by the Front of the country, which took place on September the 8th, 1946. Then Bulgaria came to power with the Revolution of September 1944 and created, with the approval of the National Assembly of December the 4th, 1947, a new constitution amended for the last time in 1961, which adapted itself to the changing social and political situation. So Bulgaria became a new people's republic characterized by a wise and responsible government. The most original element of the constitution is the claim that the true priority of Bulgaria must be basis for national economic development and the state control of the instruments of production. From this indication, which truly unveils the socialist nature of the state, derive several detailed provisions which, through protecting the right to private property, inheritance, and individual enterprise, put the state in a position of interpreter of the popular will and the interest, the supervisor and ultimate protagonist of the overall progress. The Church is separated from the state, and citizens have freedom of religion and thought. However, the formation of political associations based on religion and the religious activity for political purposes are forbidden. The majority of believers join the Eastern Bulgarian Orthodox Church, which is divided into 11 dioceses, each one supervised by a motherland person. At the top, we find the Bulgarian Patriarch. The Roman Catholic Church depends on the Apostolic Exarch of the Sofia Byzantine Catholics and on the Apostolic Administrator for Catholics of Latin Rite from Plovdiv. Bulgarian people have many distinctive rituals and customs which derive from the combination of both Christian and pagan beliefs. They are generally arranged in sequence in the calendar. The most famous are the Survakane, typical of New Year Eve and known throughout the whole country, the Hamkaneto or Sirni Zagovezni, carried out on the Ash Wednesday, the Martinici, which are related to the health on March the 1st in order to celebrate the end of winter. The Lazaruvane, the most important tradition of the ritual system of spring traditions. Easter is the most important religion festival. The date depends on the last full moon after spring. The eggs are painted on the Thursday before Easter. The most important thing is the red egg, which must be painted with the grandmother. The sign of the cross is drawn on the children's forehead to wish them health and fortune. The cookie rite, performed by men dressed as animals or grandparents, always wearing masks on their heads, bells as belt, and fur coats with external fur, who dance in the street to scare the evil spirits. And the Koleduvane, the Christmas rite, the most important ritual of the winter holiday season and one of the greatest annual celebrations known throughout the whole territory. Children are the true purpose of marriage, commitments, and life. There was a riddle in which the question was, "What is even greater than the king?" And everyone knew the answer, his son. Pregnancy is holy, respected by everyone, and brings so much happiness, especially during a big celebration. Pregnancy can take the blessing of nature and extends it to everything and everyone. On the contrary, the poor women, who cannot have children, bring much evil on earth and most of all on nature. That is the reason why such rituals are performed. Their goal is to make all women able to have a perfect pregnancy. Bulgaria is generally considered a transit country for those who by car or train are heading to Istanbul or somewhere in Western Asia. And so the tourists are satisfied with what they see along the international route, passing through Sofia and Plovdiv up to Edirne in Turkey. On the contrary, Bulgaria has more to offer, nothing exceptional, just as in any Balkan country with its own history and its own particular culture, but it is worth a longer visit. Apart from the enhancement of the beaches on the Black Sea, which have recently attracted a lot of tourists coming from Western Europe. The Bulgarian cuisine is very rich and can meet all requests. Good appetizers, meat to be grilled, rich soup and cheese. The summer fruit is always abundant, while the most typical desserts are the tahan halva and the lokum. White, rosé, and red wines are abundant, including those coming from trees from Pamide of Turnovo, from the Valley of the Roses, from Rila and Chedra. Each spring in May, when the Triglav peak is covered in snow, in the valley the roses bloom, as if the world became a sea of roses. Have you ever woken to the whisper of millions of roses which open their petals to greet the rising sun? Those who are present in that period will never forget this wonderful experience. Come to the kingdom of the roses during the Rose Festival. The harvesting of the roses was traditionally accompanied by songs, and still today they are songs sung by the harvesters, young girls with black eyes dressed in traditional clothes. The perfume of the roses produced in Bulgaria, researched for in all the world. If the young girls with black eyes dressed in traditional clothes. The perfume of the roses produced in Bulgaria is researched for in all of the world. In the 8th century that the rosary was planted in this valley, brought from the territory of Asia Minor, as if it was a verse of a poem that came from the far Persia, to encourage the Bulgarians, who were under the Ottoman Empire. Na dober put, have a good trip.